Your nest egg must earn more yearly than you need to live. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, how do I know if I'm on track for retirement? Now, frankly, being a retirement planning specialist for more than 46 years, I've been asked that question thousands of times. You're going to be blown away with what I'm going to share with you right now so that your nest egg will never run out. You will never outlive your money if you do what I teach you. So my name's Doug Andrew. I've actually helped people plan for their retirements now for north of 46 years. I'm a retirement planning specialist, but also I'm a tax minimization specialist. I have helped people save millions, even billions of dollars of unnecessary tax by helping them at retirement do planning differently to save unnecessary tax, because many times they were saving in traditional accounts like IRAs and 401ks, deferring tax until retirement when they were told they would likely be in a lower bracket, and lo and behold, they're not in a lower tax bracket. So now I have to cure their tax dis-ease. See, when you're not at ease physically, we call that disease. You can't believe how many people are not at ease financially when they hit retirement because they have legitimate concerns. Am I going to outlive my money? Will my money last as long as I do? And unfortunately, for most people, they will run out of money unless they lessen their lifestyle, they tighten their belt, and then inflation and taxes and all these impacts that they didn't really think about are coming into play. So when the question is asked, how do I know if I'm on track for retirement? Well, first of all, there's some simple equations. If you're looking at simple rate of return, do I have a big enough nest egg? We need to assume, well, what rate of return have you been earning, or do you think you will earn on your retirement assets? Now, it always was sort of amusing to me when people would say, well, I've been averaging, I think, around 8, 9, 10%. And then I would look at their deposits into their retirement accounts, and they were sporadic and different numbers, so forth. And then I would calculate how much they had, and it's a very complicated calculation. But then I would come out and say, it looks like your average return has been around 3.2. I went, what? Well, your advisor only told you the periods when you earned 8 or 9 or 10 or 11. They never told you when you lost money. And so when you're making money and losing money, you have to average it all out, because if there's a period of time you lose 30 or 40%, a 40% loss has to be followed by a 67% gain to get back to break even. $1 million dropping down to 600,000, like people experienced in 2001 to 2003 or in 2008. It has to have a 67% gain to make up for the 40% loss. 600,000 has to grow by 400,000, which is 67% of 600,000. If you lost 50%, you have to have a 100% gain to make up for the 50% loss. A 33% loss has to be followed by a 50% gain to get back to break even. So a lot of times people don't calculate the real average rate of return on their investments, and they're a little bit shocked. The simple first answer to the question, are you on track? Well, whatever your retirement nest egg is at, is your average return, whether it's 3.5 or 5 or 7 or 8, is your actual average return on that investment. Let's say it's $1 million to be simple. Is that $1 million earning enough to cover what your needs are? So let's say they say, well, 6%. 6% on $1 million is 60,000. That's 5,000 a month. Can you get by on 5,000 a month? If they go, yeah, I think we can. Okay, now you've hit the first little criteria. Your nest egg, your investments are barely earning enough to meet what you would need right now. What about the cost of living increasing every 7 to 10 years? What? Yeah, inflation. See, inflation at 7% will double the cost of living every 10 years. Inflation for medical care costs, a prescription and so forth is way more than 10%. So that will double the cost of living every 7.2 years. So if you think, in the example I just gave, that $60,000 or $5,000 a month rather would be able to be sufficient, in 7 to 10 years, you're going to need $10,000 a month to buy the same gallons of gas, loaves of bread, prescriptions that $5,000 used to buy. And in another 7.2 years, 15 years, you're going to need $20,000 to buy what $5,000 bought. And it's going to keep doubling every 7 to 10 years. So your investment strategy has to stay ahead of inflation. It has to be earning at least a rate of return equal to or greater than the inflation rate. But what I do is I link my returns to the things that inflate. I always earn usually 5% or more than the inflation rate at any given time because I link my returns to the things that inflate. And I'll show you how I do that. But then you've got to also make sure that you're not subject to market volatility. Most people saving for retirement are duped into putting their money into tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks, being told they're going to be in a lower bracket. So if you pulled out $5,000 or $60,000 a year and you're in a 33% tax bracket, you're not netting $60,000, you're only netting $40,000. If you can't get by on $40,000 after tax, then you need to have a bigger nest egg that you're going to have a net after tax cash flow sufficient to buy gas and groceries and prescriptions and golf green fees. So this is what I call the tax and inflation power curve. You've got to have a nest egg big enough, not just to earn enough to barely cover your living expenses, but you've got to subtract the negative impact of taxes, which cuts it down usually a third, and then inflation, which doubles the cost of living every 7 to 10 years for most retirees. So how do you solve this problem? People see that and they go, oh my heavens, I'm way off track for retirement. I thought $1 million would be sufficient. I'm going to need $4 million. Yeah, you either need $4 million or you need your money to be earning higher rates of return with less risk. How do you do that? Usually higher returns means higher risk. You need to make yourself immune from taxes by converting to tax-free, and you need to have inflation work for you instead of against you. So if you want to know if you're on track for retirement, it's not so much rate of return, it is protecting yourself against the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility is greater than just the rate of return. I can show you where to get 7 to 10% rates of return, but they're tax-free, which makes all the difference in the world. You'd have to earn 15% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k to net 10%. I only have to earn a net of 10 tax-free, and I can do that more safely and securely than having the money in the market having to earn 15. When inflation is 5%, I usually earn 10 or more. If it's 10, I earn 15 or more. If it's 15, I earn 20 or more because I link my returns to the things that inflate. You're probably wondering, how do I do that? Let me show you. So the first thing you want to do is make yourself immune from taxes because taxes are not likely going to go down in the future. If you were told you were going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retired, that has not been true for over 25 years. That was wrong advice. Because of irresponsible government spending, the printing of money, bailouts, economic stimulus, and new proposals, forgiving student loans, or free college tuition, or Medicare for all, the Congressional Budget Office and the General Accountability Office estimates that taxes will likely be going up to 50%, 60, 70% to fund these initiatives. Now is the time to get taxes over and done with. If you have money trapped in an IRA or 401k, I would recommend you do a strategic rollout, and not a rollover, a rollout. Get the money out, the taxes over and done with, maybe as soon as 5 years, and reposition the net after-tax monies into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. I would recommend my favorite vehicle is a max-funded, tax-advantaged, indexed universal life insurance policy that's structured for living benefits to give you tax-free income at payouts of 8 to 10%. Every million can pay out $100,000 a year of tax-free income without depleting principal. And people go, I've never seen an insurance policy do that. Well, then you've never seen one designed the way that I'm talking about, and I can show you how to learn about this and how you can own one of these, because this is where I have averaged in excess of 10% for the last 27 years. So you want to make yourself immune from taxes. You want to have inflation work for you instead of against you. That's done by using indexing, which is a strategy where my money in the insurance contract is linked to an index. And when the market goes up, I get to participate, and I've earned 16%, 25%. Sometimes I have earned 55% in a single year. But if the market dives and crashes, I do not lose. I may not make anything that year, but I don't lose the money I've made prior to that. A lot of people, if they make money, they lose it when the market crashes, and then it takes 3 or 4 years to make it back again. No, I don't lose when the market goes down. And then you want to make yourself totally immune from the market volatility. So if you eliminate those dangers of taxes, inflation, and market volatility, then you can know if you're on track for retirement. You don't need $4 million to generate money that will last as long as you do, because you've eliminated taxes, you've eliminated inflation, eroding that away, and market volatility that usually hammers on you when the market crashes. You get rid of those 3 dangers, and a $2 million nest egg can generate $200,000 a year of tax-free income. In order to have $200,000 of income net after tax out of an IRA or 401k portfolio in the market, with what the financial services industry recommends, a 4% payout, what's $200,000 4% of? So you would have to have a nest egg of $5 million in the market at a 4% payout that would give you $200,000 of income, but that would not be net. You have to pay tax on that. I only need $2 million to generate $200,000 of tax-free income net. So you can get away with far less money to have the same amount of income. But you know what? I can show you how to have the $5 million and generate $500,000 a year. In fact, we have many people who started out with $500,000. They now have $8 million, generating $800,000 a year of tax-free income. Right now, they only need $300,000 to live on. So they're way ahead of inflation because of what I've been talking about. I wish I had more time in this episode, but I'll show you how you can learn. I'm an author. I've written 11 books so far. My most recent best-selling book is flying out of the warehouse right now. It's called The Laser Fund. This retails for $20. Don't pay 20 bucks. I'll gift this to you free. To claim your free copy of this 300-page book, it's got charts, graphs, explanations, 14 chapters on this side. You flip it over, and there's 12 chapters on this side that contain 62 actual client stories. When you read this book, you will be empowered to understand how to do what I've been talking about and be on track for retirement to not outlive your money. To claim your free copy of that book, go to laserfund.com, L-A-S-E-R, laserfund.com. Simply pay $5.95 shipping and handling, and I'll pay for the book. And you'll begin learning. There's options there to watch and learn, listen and learn also. But here's to your brighter future.